Hi, my name is Damien and this is Enneagram Life, and today I want to talk about Enneagram Type 1. So the Enneagram Type 1 is known to be, they're known to repress anger. That's very much a hallmark of the personality. They're very self-righteous, they repress anger, they're very stiff, they're very stern. And today I'm going to talk about a couple of instances where I met Type 1s who were very outwardly aggressive, so they weren't really repressing anger so much. They were outwardly aggressive, and they can be like that, the Type 1, and they were in these instances, but that's probably due to the circumstances and their age and the roles that they were in. So anyway, the first one I met on the weekend, and I went to buy trestles. So I go to this scaffolding shop in an industrial area, and I walk into the showroom, and there's this woman there who's like in her 60s, and she's on the phone. She's probably the business owner's wife or the business owner. And I'm just waiting, and then I start looking at catalogs, which on the wall there's various advertisements for the products, and I see a couple of catalogs on a desk, and I pick it up and I'm reading through this catalog as I'm waiting for her on the phone. And then she finishes on the phone, and she comes out from her desk and looks at me, and then reaches out and grabs the catalog, pulls it away, and then just turns around, walks back into the back office, and then comes back out, just looking at me. Doesn't say, how are you going? How can I help you? There's no customer service at all. She just I'm there waiting while she's on the phone. She comes out and she just pulls that off me, the catalog, her catalog for her, the things she's trying to sell, and takes it away. And it was very much like, it was very aggressive. Like I could feel the aggressiveness of that move. So she puts it into the catalog in the back room, and she comes back, just looks at me as she walks out, doesn't say anything. And so then I say, I'm interested in 5-meter trestles. And she's like, well, did you see the ones outside? And even just the way she said that and the tone, absolutely no customer service. And you can feel the aggression on it. But I could tell it wasn't a Type 8, because the Type 8, their aggression is bold, it's big and the bold strokes. Whereas this was that tight and measly. Like the way she pulled that off me, it was very much like a school mistress has caught a boy reading a comic book, and she just walks up, doesn't say anything, feels completely justified, explains nothing, and just removes the comic book from the kid, turns around, slowly walks back to the teacher's desk and puts it in a drawer. It was exactly that vibe and that energy, except I'm a grown adult and an actual real customer. And it's the uselessness of it too, because she's probably at an age where she can't hold it in anymore. And the aggression is there in her, and she's just looking to just throw it out there with every single movement that she does throughout the whole day. And it makes no sense at all. Even that too, it's just throwing it out there. That's very much like there was this Type 1 I used to work with in China. And she spent the whole day like that, just being an aggressive bitch. She was a principal at this school. And I worked for another school that was related to the school she worked for. So occasionally we interacted, well, quite often we interacted. Because the schools had the same owners, and she was in her 60s as well. And she would just go through the whole day looking for a reason to be aggressive and angry at something and be bitter. That vinegary bitterness was deep inside her. And everything I said to the trestle lady when I started talking about the types of trestles I wanted, she would respond with something surly, but coming from a place of, I know best. It was always that, there was always that, like, it wasn't even a question. Everything was coming from that place of looking down from a position of authority. And really, I was talking about my needs. And she actually didn't even know much about trestles really at all, because I'd done my research about trestles. And that was the exact same with the woman in China, the type 1 in China, she would always be like coming from that self-righteousness of I know best, but at the same time just looking to be aggressive and angry and bitter, and to express that. Yeah. But that movement, when the trestle age just pulled it off me, that's mean, and it's tight, and it's small, and it's measly to do that to an adult. The way she did it, the expression on her face as she did it, it was just sort of like a blank expression, but looking me right in the eye. Like there was no seeing me as a person with any kind of rights or any wish to appeal to me in any way. Just, which was all self-righteousness. And they're known for that, like meanness and tightness. They're very mean with money and tight with money or resources or anything like that, the type 1. And all of that came through. And I could just feel that energy. Yeah. So the woman in China, who was also in her 60s, she would constantly be looking to get aggressive at someone. And very often she would yell at the owners of the business, which might sound like she was doing something bold and meaningful. But actually they didn't even speak English, and they couldn't understand anything she would say, and she would just yell at them for a chance to yell at someone. And she would go through the whole day like that, like yelling at kids, like high school students. It was a high school that we were working at. So she would yell at these high school students about their way they're dressed and all of those type of things. And it was like every single little thing and constant. Whereas, the type 8 anger it's more reactive, and it's more like explosion, rather than like a constant chipping away. If anything, the type 8, it's like they're trying to, they're getting frustrated, and then it just booms, and then it just booms out. But both of these bitter type 1s they were looking for the opportunity to get angry at someone. Whereas, the type 8 isn't really looking for the opportunity. And I think maybe it comes from that life of repressing anger, and then at a certain point, because they have the authority, the trestle lady was the owner, most likely, or at least related to the owner, and the woman in China, she wasn't Chinese, she was Canadian actually. She was in that position of authority as the principal, and so she would yell at all the teachers and just criticize enormous amounts of criticism. And and they both reminded me of each other, and I just thought I would discuss this because it was examples of type 1s that were constantly being outwardly aggressive. And so they're still definitely type 1s. And like I said, the circumstances that they're in, the situation that they're in, the point in their life, all of these things have an effect on how the personality comes out. And I guess, learning, hopefully this sort of shows some of those subtle differences with different anger types. So if you like this, please comment, subscribe, press the like button. Thanks a lot.